How are you today, Mayor?
Doing well. Thank you, Joe. How you doing?
I am well, thank you. It's a beautiful morning, a little chilly. I'm sure after your shaving, saving by shaving haircut, you're a little chilly this morning.
Well, it does hit you a little differently, but we're going in the right direction. Cool mornings. The afternoon it warms up.
Yes, crocuses are up, so it's a good
All
sign.
good. Yeah, for
And
sure.
the whales are back in Cape Cod Bay, so there you go.
There we go. Awesome.
Mayor, can we talk again about the Lunar New Year proposal to make it a holiday in the Quincy Public Schools? As you're well
Okay.
aware, the City Council reaffirming a resolution offered this week to enforce that ordinance that was passed last year. Can the city enforce that ordinance?
Well, that's a good question. We'll take a close look at that, Joe. I mean, we've got, first of all, my position. I believe it is time to do it. However, I do believe that every elected official has their right to their thoughts and opinions on it. So there's that. It's not too often we have these two bodies at odds. I mean, it's very seldom that occurs. So that's a little troubling, but I hope we can try to figure out some common ground here. Now, in reality, this coming February, the holiday falls on holiday vacation, so it wouldn't be an issue regardless. The following year, it falls on a Saturday, so it wouldn't necessarily be an issue in the calendar either. So I thought we had time to work this out organically, but I understand it's been a very high priority for Councilor Nina Liang, and I understand where she's coming from. So we'll take a deeper dive legally on it and look at all the related laws. And I mean, generally speaking, the school committee controls the school calendar, and we got to check out if there's any other wiggle room in there to try to figure out a solution that would satisfy both bodies. But I'm not sure there is one. But we're going to look at it. We'll take a deeper dive in all due respect to City Council's resolve.
Right. I'm a little unclear. Does the initial ordinance, did it specify a school holiday for Lunar New Year, or did it just specify closing all public buildings for Lunar New Year?
I think it was both. I think initially it was the holiday, and then I think they might have made some changes before it come out in final form.
Okay, and you did ultimately sign it, so it is on the books, right, in the city.
Well, it is on the books,
Yeah.
correct. The question is whether it has real teeth or not.
Right.
Clearly, under the calendar, the school committee has control. The city council has, local laws are called ordinance, and that's the city council's role. So there clearly is a conflict here, and I don't know if we can resolve it. But as I said, we're going to look at different aspects. So there's all kinds of different law and case law. We're going to check everything out to see if there's something that would apply specifically here. But in either case, one of the bodies isn't going to be happy. So
that's just pretty much the way it stands right now.
exactly.
Yeah. Major presentation made this week at the council meeting regarding the city's open space plan, Mayor. It's been going on for, I guess, 7 or 8 years now, under scrutiny.
Yes, and an open space plan, and I go back to my years with the park department involved in those. They are a requirement for the municipality to do it on a regular basis, and it does matter from the viewpoint of state agencies, for example, or federal agencies. If you're applying for funding related to environmental and parks and other things, and the question is always, is there an open space plan in place? And that's an important checkoff when you do apply. It also just gives a general framework on what the city's desires are over the next 5 years for open space and so forth. So, I know Heather from Department of Natural Resources, I think, was the lead on it, and the Commissioner Murphy. And, I think it's a good plan. I think it's decent. It's been updated. And, we're a built-out city, so there are certain limits to, what we can do. But I think if you take a look at things over the last several years, we've had some pretty good acquisitions specifically for open space and made adjustments on some of the parks and things. So it's a good thing to do. It's a good exercise for the city. Remind us what our resources are and remind us where we can improve.
No, does it qualify the city for any grant money, state or federal grant money?
It's one of those checkoffs that if
Yeah.
you do apply, they ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a open space plan that is in place and approved? So it indirectly, yes.
Speaking of grant money, any indication as to how cuts at the federal level might impact the city right now, Mayor?
Your guess, Joe.
Yeah.
There's been no notification to us as a municipality regarding any of the federal monies that are, regular or grants. For example, Title I comes into the schools every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's federal law. That's out of Congress. I don't think how that gets messed around with.
Mm-hmm.
And then this discretionary grants like the one we applied for and got for Southern Artery, that $10 million grant. That's more discretionary from one of the departments. So, the question is, and it's going to be sorted out the coming weeks because, as we know, there's a lot of buzz in Washington of what the president can and can't do under executive powers, and you get judges weighing in, we get Congress speaking out. So, I think we're in for a little rough ride, but there's been no memorandum or any kind of communication from the federal government that we're losing any particular grant that we currently have. So we'll wait and see.
Okay.
Not much else I can do.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure Congressman Lynch is keeping a close tab on it.
He is. Him and his staff are in touch regularly, and he's certainly a champion for us.
As you're well aware, Mayor, the Acapulco's restaurant, Maple Street, is gone.
Is it gone? What happened?
I went out there last Wednesday with a camera, and there was a big excavator taking it down.
Yes, indeed. As you know, Joe, and I think the listeners know, that's been identified for some time. It's become the home of the John Quincy Adams statue and bronze plaques. That it was a corner that was getting a little unsightly. The building was in bad shape. The upper stories were uninhabitable. Over the last 10 years, 4 different developers looked at that site and walked away from it. Health department and sewer department had a lot of issues with the condition of the basement and the kitchen, and there was sewer backups. I mean, the place was a mess. And that's aside from our plan, which we picked that corner out as an ideal corner to honor 6th President John Quincy Adams with his statue and story. So it works nicely. It opens up that corner for vistas a little bit. And down to the library, the Quincy Mutual Company is going to be developing on Chestnut Street, and they're going to leave kind of an opening on the corner to kind of match that opening. As we build out the downtown, these pocket parks become more important. As we learn through COVID and since we've been developing the downtown, you see people out walking, whether it's with dogs, whether just out walking, sitting on a bench, reading a paper, but getting out and getting some fresh airs. That's one. 2 is, we're becoming more and more of a tourism destination. And this is another piece in that puzzle to honor, one of our presidents. As we know, we've already done John Abigail and John Hancock. This is ideal. Somebody asked me, well, why wouldn't you just put it down in front of City Hall? Well, I mean, when you get into the design and the art of it, you can't have too many statues plunked down in one spot either. So it makes sense it's close to Hancock Adams Common, but not in the middle of it. It's a nice visible corner traffic-wise and walking-wise, pedestrian. So I think it's a great spot. So it's, no surprise here. And by the way, the owner of the building, who is part owner of the restaurant, has been trying to sell this for years. As I said, there were at least 4 developers that had put a down payment on it and then walked away from it after doing the due diligence. So it's not like we knocked out a restaurant where people are screaming and kicking. In a sense, he had it. He had enough. So, it's hopefully it'll be done this summer. That's the goal, and I think it's going to be another beautiful spot in our city.
Yeah, I know you talked earlier about maybe dedicating it on the anniversary of the president's birth on July 11th.
Yeah, that's the goal. I'm not sure we're going to meet that goal, but that's the goal. So we'll continue to monitor it. And what it comes down to really is the lead time on elements of the park. Obviously, we have the statue ready, but the granite and other pavers and granite walls and those kinds of things, it just takes a lot more time these days to get those things than it used to. So that will be the real trick.
Speaking of building, to volleyball courts going in up at Pageant Field.
Yes, there was a call for bringing back some volleyball up there, and the Park Department, Park Rec and Board, they talked about Commissioner Murphy, and that's what's going on. It's a beautiful site, as we know, up there. It's become a beautiful spot to walk. That walkway up there is used by a lot of folks all during the year, whether it's the colder months or the warmer months. Many of them walking their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously we put in the bocce courts and horseshoe courts, and the other piece on that now would be the volleyball stuff. So when we do have outings up there, or if there's no outing and people just want to go up and just throw a game together, it's a great spot to do that. So, happy to see that happening. It's part of the master plan.
Very good. Can you reveal the second...
Can you spike the ball, Joe?
Are you kidding? Be lucky if I could reach the net.
I'm in the same spot.
Could you do a children's volleyball court? I might be able to do that one. I was going to ask, can you reveal the second act on the weekend of August 2nd at Veterans Stadium?
It's still being negotiated, so
Okay.
I can't yet. Yep. Real tight rules around all those things.
Oh,
So
I'm
we got
sure.
All the rules.
Yeah, I'm sure. It might have something to do with the beach, actually, as I hear, but who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
I'm sure, Mayor, you want to wish a very good retirement to George Bouchard.
Sure. George has been the Gray's registration officer for a number of years now. He's done a nice job. Gray's registration officer maintains the memorials across the city for veterans, but also deals with families when the loss of a veteran and arranging for burial sometimes in the case of Pine Hill and Mount Wollaston and dealing. So he's done a real nice job. And of course, he's been very active in the Sons of the American Legion over there on the Island of Flags, as well as his active duties over at the Morissette Post. So he's been a real trooper, no pun intended, in the veterans world. So we appreciate George's contributions, and we wish him much happiness and health in his retirement years.
Absolutely. He is a regular in all of the parades and a staunch veterans advocate, certainly.
We played softball against each other back in the heyday.
Is that right?
I've known George a long time.
Wow.
He was very, very quick, very fast.
It still is.
Yeah.
Still is. Well, what's the process now for a replacement?
I'm working with Christine Cugini,
Yeah.
our Veterans Director, to look at things, whether we tweak these job qualifications, this time we look at including other duties, et cetera, et cetera. So we're working on that now. So
Okay.
we'll keep you posted.
Good to talk to you, Mayor. Enjoy your day.
Same here. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
You too.
Bye-bye.